Hey folks, David here once again. Welcome back to my thoughts slash favorite episodes of Arrow Season 6, Part 2. This is Part 2. So we're going to get started with that. And the next episode is another favorite of mine that's called The Thanatos Guild. Yeah, yeah. This episode begins with a flashback 4 years ago when, after Deathstroke killed her mother sometime, you see Thea talking to Michael Merlin. This was like the end of Season 2. And you see that conversation again, which was nice to see. And nice to see John Barrowman make a more cameo again, or just a shot or scene of flashback, but that was nice to see. Then the present day eventually comes in with League of Assassins, top of the placing of Malcolm at the top of the league. Nissa, who's been outsider from the league, she has to fight with her own League of Assassins group, so she wants to protect Theo. You know, so Thea's messing with William about Oliver's precious share of the dime. In the wake of messing with them, Oliver pulls Diggle aside to talk about who's going to wear the Green Arrow symbol. They talk about that again, and he's like, "You will put the hood on eventually. You just need to give me some time, and you can put the hood on again, Oliver." Oliver trying to assure him that he can. And this was aggravating. Again, I don't want John to be the Green Arrow. It just doesn't work for me. Honestly, I thought he looked a bit silly in the suit. Oliver looks perfect in the suit. He is the Green Arrow. No matter who puts on that mask, that mantle, he is the Green Arrow. At least to me, in my opinion. Yeah. So Diane and Curtis are at Renee's condo, attempt to discover which cops are Diaz's finance. They're trying to investigate that. Diaz a bit, which I didn't care. I don't care about them at all. So Thea and Roy, they have like a throwing party away from them. You have William there too. I think Oliver warns Roy that if you bring my sister to her, I'll put an arrow on you again. Something like that. And it was a nice little party. And yeah, you want to see them be happy. And he's like, go, Thea, just go be happy. They do run out, but the tire gets shot out by an arrow. And it's Nissa Al Ghul, played by the same beautiful actress Katrina Law. They should have her join Team Arrow. I wish. I'd rather have her than Diana or the Artemis Elvin Shop girl. So I can see why Oliver was hesitant to put his team under surveillance. Yeah. And plus, I think I forgot to mention, did Renee in season 5? I remember told you by his church who he was. So yeah, and did it again. Wow. Anyway, she tells him that she's in danger. So Nissa dies in spirit just because they nearly get killed. So Nissa jumps in, they're okay with Thea and Roy, and they uncovered Oliver and Dougal listed that Malcolm had recently enlisted supporters, led by Athena, before his takeoff, and those are managers in quest for Thea. Thinking she's going to be the unsure of the guy that she's going to be the next Ra's al Ghul, so Athena wants to kill her. This causes them, regardless if Thea and Roy leave the Star State, this new society will keep following them down, that they won't stop. That's the thing about the League of Assassins, they don't stop trying to kill you. Thea gets us to, starts to worry about Roy's like, we should go. And somebody says like that we should get out of here, we should do this, and I thought it was funny when Roy said, when when Roy Hopper said, yeah, I agree, let's get the heck out of here, or something like that. At first, I thought it was funny when he said that, but it was good to see Roy again. At least it's good to see somebody who was truly part of Team Arrow that didn't betray Oliver, instead supported him and took his place as Green Arrow to help him get out of jail. Yeah, and he's more loyal than any of the three people are, in this group. Yeah, but I definitely missed Roy. They got to hand over this guy, so they're gonna try to find this guy. She thought, Thea talks to Roy. So that's why I love you, because you just listen to me. It's like, let's just do this and we'll leave, with our lives. Thea consists to go with the go and just take this map. I do like the scene though when Felicity tries to get smart with Nissa and Nissa gives her a look. And Felicity's like working on something. Okay, well, sister wife, I'll watch over you, make sure nobody harasses you. I thought that was funny. Yeah. It was just good to see characters like Nissa or Rory come back. Yeah. Diana, she's involved in this manslaughter case, but Captain Hill, despite, dismisses her from it. They mentions the cop and they forget these cops are dirty. So Nissa and Thea track down the league partners they were about to the guide. She draws a guide for the pair. Nissa advised Thea to call her sibling and team hero for reinforcements. Nia, Thea, Oliver, and Roy Diggle merge in a stockroom. They do fight with the team, and I do like seeing her in her suit again. Um, Roy's just wearing a hat, but he does have arrows when he needs it. You know, but she does. Athena and her gathering fellows grapple from the roof. A battle breaks out between the two gatherings. Athena attempts to escape with the guide. Oliver, Diggle, and Nissa can make snappy with the associates. Athena can thump Thea and Roy both down. As she's running over their antagonizer, she's shot with a bolt, and they continue to get away. That was a nice little fight scene there. Nissa offers to take the safe and discover how to open it herself. Yet Thea proceeds to remain to the group. They test Felicity with hacking the safe, which she does. It's like a cube. Diane and Curtis on the police division attempt to uncover more evidence on Captain Hill, find out how dirty she is, and while she's working, if she's working for Diaz. Well, she is, because uh, before Diaz killed Kate and James, he did reveal that Captain Hill was on his payroll. Sorry. Back at Arrow, though, HQ, Oliver converses with Nissa about their past marriage. Says, "Don't call me that anymore because that offends Felicity." She's like, "Okay, I'll stop doing that." Oliver, Felicity holds the guys over Bunker to check whether the ink was activated. They, have to burn the paper with fire to read the message. So Roy and Theo are out in the corridor discussing their future together. Roy communicates of Thea's trying to failure to leave Star City, but she says, "We'll leave eventually," and he listens to her. Diane and Curtis are tuning our new team Arrow. It's read the proof that they took from the police headquarters, yet can't find any associations. Oliver's, oh yeah, well they're trying to sneak into the police evidence room. Curtis meets this cop who gay cop as well, like him, and has tracked him, and I didn't care for that. Just another gauge in the thermal face. Oh yeah, he's gonna find another man. Didn't care. Digger was to limit the skin they make out with his refuge. Thea coaches Athena out by presenting the guide. Athena approaches Thea, comfortably going. Felicity discovers the area that they're fixed with C4. Roy takes a shot at it as he's ready to activate it. Thea and Thea battle. Thea does get like a cut in the face, but Thea's able to take her down. Felicity breaks down the guide and discovers that Malcolm utilized the first rate of vision. That there are three more. You find out on this map there are three more, even though in season three, I mean, no, season four, this has destroyed the pit. Rachel Gould, Malcolm was able to find there was three more of these Lazarus pits. Curtis Thea chooses she needs to go with Nissa to demarcate Lazarus pits. Roy insists to go with. Nissa repels her marriage with Oliver and says goodbye to Thea and Roy as they leave Star City, which was nice. I hate to see them leave. But this was a good episode. I didn't care what was going on with Diaz, the cops, and the new Team Arrow, which I'm not calling that. I call them the new Team Disaster. Yeah, they don't find out much information anyway. But yeah, good episode. Right, that some of those things I didn't like, but that was the Phantom's Guild. Good episode. Again, I like seeing Rory Hopper come back and Nissa. Characters I actually like. Yeah, which this show has failed to somewhat do that. Give us that, in my opinion. All right, the Thanatos Guild. There's 7 episodes left, guys. We're gonna finish. We're not soon. Oh, all right. I did put this episode on my okay list, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it's the least favorite. Now that I think about it, it's called Brothers in Arms. I hated this episode. Yeah, this is more of a dispute, a fight with Oliver and John. So Brothers in Arms begins with a gathering of cops collected by Dana. They are gonna try to, you know, they're gonna try to take Diaz down themselves. Dana requests that the gathering following Antoni and a couple of different individuals from the Bravada try down Antoni with the assistance of Oliver and Diggle. So Dana and Oliver come back to City Hall. Dana gives Oliver some ideal opportunity, even though they don't want to talk. Oliver approaches Antoni about the warp cops, to which Antoni discovers that a lot more city just cops on Diaz's payroll, finance. Arrow busts into space to Arrow busts into space to reveal to him the head prosecutor is dropping in. Arrow, though, Diggle takes a stab at persuading Oliver to let him wear the green hood once more. When Oliver won't, Diggle's some sort of bombshell. He's like, no, I'm being Green Arrow. My son's okay with it. Everything's, well, you're not going to be Green Arrow again, John. No. No. Diaz approaches one of the cops that was exploring Diaz's filthy cops. Diaz erased the great cop long enough for Antoine to sneak up behind him and shoot him. I guess this dirty cop betrayed him, so Diaz has him killed. Group Arrow finds up the homicide of the officer Hurst. They right away acknowledge Antonio and Diaz are behind it. Diego goes to talk with Lila at Argus. She hands over some intel that has Diaz and his Virgo. The exchange, Oliver calls Captain Hill and District Attorney and calls for them to concede they're working for Diaz. The two of them uncover they have conditions throughout their life. Prior to the cash from Diaz, Oliver, fires them again. That the prosecutor and Captain Hill, he fires them, which, and slowly they're able to use the law system with him. I forgot to mention that Laura's living with. One day he's like, "You want to be a Laura? Here's some law books," and she's able to use those law books to talk to Diaz about it. Arrow has returned home to talk with Black Siren, and she is yet messaging Ricardo Diaz. She's still in contact with him. Dougal appears to be okay with Oliver's choice. Tells his companion that it's trustworthiness. Oliver plunks down to chat with Dougal about the Green Hood. He's like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry about not Oliver. Forgive me," and they think everything's good. So Felicity tells the pair that she's near one of Diaz's vertical sellers. They suit up, go to the vendor. Oliver and Digger come back to Hero HQ, thinking about how each other took care of the circumstances at the Vertical's vendors. Diggle hollers at Oliver, grumbling that his companion doesn't combine his choices. Because when they go out to Tarzan's Vertical, Johnny Lee almost kills the man. Spartan Hill usually like, Spartan, calm down. You know, but during that attraction, the girl, she's like, well, you mean nothing to me. And then Oliver just knocks her down with an arrow. Alarm finds an entry that Lance should have that amazed by Ricardo, so he brought her a supper. Diggle comes back to talk with Lila about his contention with Oliver. And he's like, he's not letting me be there again. And the way of talking with Lila, Diggle goes to converse with Oliver. He discloses to Oliver that he discussed pictures with um, the Green Hood. The innovation laid with the individual who wore it, Oliver. Diggle admits that putting the group under was a mix up. And this is where he becomes an asshole. He was always like, it was wrong for you to put them under surveillance. It was blah, 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 wrong for you to put them under surveillance. He starts yelling at Oliver. Oliver says, and you're the one that put the team and group in danger because you were hurt. You had nerve damage and you nearly got them killed a couple times. And you lied to me. Yeah. Maybe that's why he's not giving the hood, John. Because you're becoming like Renee and them. You're lying. You're doing stuff behind his back. Yeah. Yeah. It just amazes me that they managed to make this character an asshole. You know. And they're just yelling at each other. Felicity's like, you guys just work out your problems. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. McCall. You guys need to work this out. And they're just yelling at each other constantly. And John loses it though, and Oliver's like, because Oliver, you're a murderer, you're a killer, and all that stuff. You knew this when you joined his crusade, but yet you stuck with him for these, what, 5, 6 years? 6 years you stuck with him, and now you're yelling at him about it and all this wrong he did. Again, like I said, this show loads of people. Oliver's wrong. Oliver's the bad guy. Oliver's always wrong. But Oliver says to him, at least the bodies of the people I've killed doesn't include my own brother. And when John hears this, John punches Oliver in the face. Oliver punches back. They start fighting, and I don't like seeing these two fight. Felicity comes in. I wish just Felicity would have stayed out of it. I'm like, Felicity, like, shut up. You know. And she tries to say, you two better calm down. I'm gonna come down here and take care of her myself. Like, Felicity, shut up. Let them work out their differences. Anyway, Diggle deserved to get his ass whooped by Oliver. You know. But Felicity comes in. I don't like seeing them fight, but I think he deserved his ass kicked. You know. But Diggle does apologize to him, and the two suit up to track down the activity. Curtis and Diana are working a couple of great cops. Eventually, one of these cops betrays him, like, Diaz is going to win anyway, and points a gun at them. The pop Nick, whatever, Kirsten's new boyfriend, Kirsten takes a bullet for him. Oliver and Derek come back to Arrow Cave, apologizes again for what he said to Oliver. He stops pretending he despite everything directly in the idea that Oliver's impression fails to impress anyone. They reveal to Oliver that he finished being the piece of this group. So Curtis and Diana are proceeding to deal with Renee's little girl. Eagles addressing Lila, who extends him to because he basically tells Oliver that he quits. And it was sad to see John quit, but John became an asshole anyway. They managed to make in the season John Diggle unlikable. But you see the opportunities at Argus. Oliver turns the TV to find that Ramirez turned to seek after obstacle of equality charged against the civic chairman, against him for firing them earlier, and things just get bad for Oliver. So again, Brothers Norms. I did put it on my K list, but actually I would say it's one of my least favorite episodes. I just did not care for it, and the whole thing with the cops and the Nick character and him and Chris looking up. I didn't care at all. All right, and this is my last favorite episode of the season. That is Fundamentals. I did like this episode. Yes, I'll admit to it. It starts with two cops walking down at the police station. Let's begin flickering with Oliver shows up. Asking where Diaz is, he starts beating on them, and Oliver's like working on his own again, which I liked. That was cool. It was like he's becoming like the hood again, which they should have done. Have Oliver work on his own again, starting with season 5. But you see that it was like 10 hours earlier that Diaz is behind this door, and the story takes place from there. Well, you find out that Oliver, when he shook hands with the mayor or this chief of staff or this one of the politicians or whatever that he worked for Diaz, he gave Oliver vertigo. He drugged him. Yeah. We then go back to 10 hours, see Oliver and Felicity watching TV reports about impeachment due to Oliver firing the DA and police chief. Oliver and Felicity are arguing about approaches to bring down Diaz. Yeah. Felicity tricked him to come into Arrow Cage, telling him that the chip is on his arm, needed a code update. Still still refuses to work with him. He still now has a job at working at Argus. Oliver and Lance are meeting with counsel and let's go over the impeachment charges. Colin warns Oliver that impeachment proceedings will begin that evening. They shake hands, and that's when he gives Oliver that drug to Vertigo somewhat. Oliver needs to leave City Hall to take William to his science fair. He gets back to talk with him. He has an argument with Felicity, a real bad argument. He loses it, and he accidentally, pushes, hits William's science fair project, knocks it down, and this scares William and upsets him. He's like, buddy, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It's like, Oliver, you need to leave now. Now, I may not be on Felicity's side. That was Oliver going too far, though, at that point. Didn't need to be a jerk to your son, though. Yeah. So Oliver spends some time alone at the Arrow Cave. Felicia's up telling him that they need some space. Quentin shows up at Arrow, confronting Oliver again, spinning to his father figure. And Lance is still there for him. It's first Quentin's not being a jerk. Quentin is a good guy. I can see that he's fighting for Laura. It's like he's trying to save Black Siren. So it's trying like he's being there for Oliver. Like being a father figure. Like I said, a father figure to him. You know. Quentin leaves and Oliver starts hearing you know. But I like that little moment with Quentin. He starts hearing the banging, and you see Adrian Chase, even though it's just it's the same actor, of course, who plays Prometheus, and they fight a little bit. But that was cool to see. Chase starts shooting at Oliver. The two they fight for a while. Oliver like snaps his head like, "Finally, you did it. You killed me." Because he starts threatening Felicity and William. Oliver leaves in dismay when he goes to check Adrian's body is gone. That he hallucinated the fight. He checks his blood on himself, checks his blood pressure. I mean, yeah, scans his blood, realizes he's been trapped with vertigo. Blood test himself. He said about the councilman he had met with earlier. Maybe someone drugged him through the skin. Oliver needs to talk to Lance about the situation, but then Oliver starts to hallucinate again as he's Adrian again. He's like, Oliver, this Ricardo Diaz man, he got your team separated. He did all this to you. No, it wasn't Diaz. It was the damn team itself because the team were, it was because they're a crappy team. They're doing stuff behind his back, and Oliver had to take those measures, those contingencies plans to check on them. That he's the cause of his own problems. He leaves the bunker and gets a call from Lance about the impeachment. He ends up in an old house and he sees, a more youthful little Lance. He said, Ollie, I'll help you pack before he left. And he starts seeing, like, you killed me. I'm dead because of you. So, yeah. He sees her in the medical clinic on deathbed. Sees Renee in the medical clinic. He's like, bro, I'm here because of you, Hoss. No, you're there because you try to shoot a gun at him. He shows up back in his condo and says that his maid is Bernice, whatever her name is. She's like, the man with the tattoo. Also, she bites the dust. Diaz reaches out and stuns Oliver with a taser, making the city fall stone to his knees. So I don't know if that was fantasy or just really Diaz there himself. At that point, Wayne is dug out and is apparently drawn near by Patrick himself as the hood. Oliver shows up at his hearing a little more than an hour late. They tell him that prove that they impersonate him as a Green Arrow advises him that there's the town card to play. Oliver shows up as heading. Oh, sorry. After Lance leaves Oliver's office, though, Chase Trip shows back up and discloses to him the best way to escape the difficulty is capture Diaz himself. Diaz at the police headquarters right now each night. Felicity and William get back to the science reasonable. Her telephone is humming. She calls Lance, who pursues Oliver down trying to stop him. Yet Oliver rapidly takes Lance out. Knocks him out, as you say. He's put on the green mask and bringing the hood. Fights the guy. Fighting cops. And it's like, you're going to get killed over. All these cops are like a SWAT team, and they're all behind, standing right next to Diaz. Even though I just don't think, I don't know, Diaz just didn't walk out and let him come in and shoot him in the first place. I'm like, Diaz had a chance to kill him, but he wants to make him look like a murderer, a martyr, whatever. And she's able to talk some sense in Oliver. He shoots his bow and arrow off. They would get away. So cops have plenty of time to come out and shoot at them. She talks him down, which is fine. Again, I don't care for the relationship too much. No, I'm sorry. I don't care at all. Oliver comes back to the senses, and when Lance, they give him a creation, didn't realize the further impacts. Sarah stars in terms of TV. Oliver's been impeached, and Quentin's going to be the new mayor. Quentin Lance, yeah. Oliver says that he needs to do his missions alone as the Green Arrow, which I am like, finally. Oliver goes to apologize to William. Worry about his death. I was like, don't worry about that, buddy. They, hug each other like a little family, and that was nice. Yeah, the episode, but fundamentals, my last favorite episode. Felicity was okay this episode. I'll admit, though, I've not been complaining about Felicity at all. Mostly, Surprisingly, they make John the asshole. you know, in this season. Anyway, that was fundamentals. Right? And then this is the least favorite episode of mine. This is the least favorite one. That's called the Dragon. Yeah. This is about this episode is mainly just about Ricardo Diaz. Yay. We get his backstory. We see him in an orphanage, getting bullied by this kid. Before he becomes a dragon, we see this kid. He's tormented by this child as a bully. He's bullying him. He like puts his dad's picture on fire because he's been home. So present day Diaz is consulting with Siren by Siren lore about the long haul that he's planning to take over the city. This is going to start out trusting that the property will stop by. But Felicity and Curtis talk about I think they said to forgive each other and they're going to continue with their Megan with their company. Diaz and Siren are conservative with the men of his word, who drives the quadrant. It's like the big mob kind of group, whatever you want to call them. Diaz requests a spot at the table ahead of the quadrant and return of balanced access to Star City's police. Apparently, this guy, his father's in charge of it, and so they say, okay, well, we'll send you to do this job. But to them, Diaz is a nobody, a nothing, a loser. Yeah, this character pretty much is nothing anyway. So Diaz tries out for a job, and irritated, Diaz goes to the washroom to try to quiet down. Diaz just does temper tantrums, punches the mirror because he's impatient. So the quarters fellow needs Diaz to try for a job. Diaz decided they leave the bar to check out a continuing wrongdoing supervisor who's under FBI. They have a shootout, which is pretty decent. You know, Felicity Curtis throughout the episode. Oliver's reports now, and that Diggle left the group 7 days earlier. She attempts to forsake her. She's fine. However, denies that she said that she's not okay. I didn't care too much about that at all. And then we get back to Diaz and Siren. They come back to the bar, show Eric Carter the coroner in chief. The photos took while making out wrongdoing chief. Firstly, the coroner folks need Diaz and Siren to bring Baylor, the person they're marking out, back to their HQ. So they go there and they begin taking out his thugs. Diaz and Siren talk about everybody in the FBI. Isn't Bayer. Carter purchased us out of the safe house. Well, with Diaz, bringing him to him. And what's his name again? Carter. I get Carter. Just shoots both of them, including Diaz. Diaz is wearing a bulletproof vest, so he loses lives like, he's like, what if she shot you in the head? Diaz, he's like, Diaz, what would he done if he was shot you in the head? I thought it was funny when Diaz said, I'd be dead then. I'd be dead. We said Diaz endures the assault. You know, Diaz and Siren reduce that Corporal's club. They discharge the farm. They attack his men. He beats him up, even calls him a loser or nothing. So Diaz starts beating the crap out of him. So Curtis telephones Helms and his news alert. They see the Green Arrow's in rage with a blast in the glades. But Felicity's always worried. Like, Felicity, he's been the Green Arrow for some time. I think he'll be okay. At Carter's club, though, they attack Carter up and start addressing him. So Diaz kills Carter. Diaz just shoots him dead. Diaz and Simon Shaw about the area Eric gave them. They discharge Carter to run inside. They don't shoot him. Sorry, they send him in there to the quadrant. They got a bomb on him, blow him up. Diaz try to enter the compound and execute the rest of the gatekeepers. They discover his Carter's father and the other, you know, Bifted that he would send him to an emergency clinic that will keep them alive while he torment them. You know, he tells about his strategy plan, giving the Lord talk. Diaz tells the gathering that he'll give the message to all the runners in the Star City in return for a seat at the table. Brother Carter disagrees, like, you're a nobody. You're just a loser, and Diaz loses it and just shoots his daddy dead. Well, didn't shoot Carter, but he shoots his father. The corner chiefs consistently let Diaz sit down at the table. He's like, there's an open chair now. Felicity shows up at Oliver's condo to check whether he's endured the blast and that he's okay. He's like, I'm okay. And they hug each other. And Diaz out for revenge. He finds his, I forget the guy's name, who was a jerk to him as a child, is like an adult now, a family man. Takes him on the housetop roof. And Black Siren's disturbed by this, or was disturbed by this. He gets down on the characters. I don't care. It don't matter. Anyway, he burns him alive as revenge and throws his father's picture in there and Torres gives him. I just didn't care about this episode. I don't care about Diaz as a character. He's, in my opinion, the worst villain this series has. In my opinion, but I just don't see him enough as a threat to Oliver. Sorry, I don't buy that he has all these cops in his back pocket, and all that. No, and why do we have to give a backstory for him? I just didn't care about that. All right, and three more episodes, shifting alliances, which I thought was okay episode, or maybe yeah. So the episode opens up with some intoxicated taking in Russia, traveling right out. Curtis and Renee's condo, head to Renee's condo, where his daughter and Diana are holding up with an unexpected gathering. Anxious to go bring down Diaz, as they disclose to him that he has so much force that we did what to do. However, so Diego briefs group of Diaz's exercise, including legislative and law associate. He needs to utilize Argus as assist to screen Diaz and his kinship. You know, again, John is working on Argus, ordering these men what to do. Guy comes to compliment him. He offers his lead on Diaz though, run for weapons in the quadrant. Argus is a group holding on to take her out. Yet Diego says not to. Diaz is trusting that his suit will customize filled with black star and appears. He goes to kiss her, however, she is disinterested. I mean, they do kiss, get a relationship at first. She initially broke a date with him. He go about as his most of his docs. Though Diaz is like, even though since I burned that guy, my childhood tormentor, you've been acting strange toward me, he begins to realize that he needs her to carry him close and personal with Lance so that they can set up a standard procedure. So she does that because Diaz shows up at this restaurant they're meeting at, tells him what he needs to do, making this trek. He wants to buy this piece of land or whatever place that he wants to get. Anatoly is viewing a ball game with his men when he sees something move over the floor, and he gazes upward. Oliver is there to conserve with him. The Verada man, Oliver had a blade, which he presented Anatoly that he has been restored in the Bravada and that he would now be able to get back. And he wants Anatoly for helping Data, and Anatoly stumps him with a taser, chaining him up. At the point where Oliver awakens, he's asphyxiated to a seat. Anatoly Burbage talks to him. He says that no longer needs to back. He's like his entire life, and that they underestimated him. Oliver cautions him that Diaz will do more regrettable. He doesn't expect Diaz will make him rich. He thinks he'll make him rich because he doesn't have the money to go back to Russia. So he thinks maybe he's like, well, he's gonna betray you when he can. When he doesn't need no more, you're dead. And he's like, you used to be a good man in this, and then he doesn't want to listen to what Oliver says anymore. So they take him to Diaz. Back to the new team though. Renee plans to get ready as Wild Dog. The group aligns him in the incursion of Team Arrow. Renee refuses no mind. Renee gets nervous there because he thinks of his daughter. I don't care. They realize that Diaz must be searching for another vertical. Lance appears to be glad to have a feast with Laura. Oh, I already mentioned that. Renee draws the man away from the quiet. Sometimes life occurs to hear the area. I was just reading. I'm sorry. Fuck. Oh yeah, Renee. As he's after the action, he freezes and he gets himself killed. Dougal briefs Nancy on the Squadron. They may sense that Scorpions and the Squadron are in conflict. Dougal apologizes to Nancy to the manner which things played out. Green Arrow shows up, educating the group about Diaz's interest in city building. Shows up in. Sorry. Oliver, however, says Diaz doesn't have a code or any respect for working with him. It's only selling out that he postdocs in a structure, though. Dougal thinks Diaz needs to store his approaching weapons shipment. Renee trusts in John. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But the episode, Renee struggles with being a vigilante because of his daughter and backs out. John even teams up with the new Team Arrow, which, I'm like, screw you, John, for what you did to Oliver. You know, they try to attack his truck, but they don't, get away with taking down Diaz of the quadrant. They're not doing so well either. The only one that's sticking with him is Felicity. You know, yeah, I do like the scene where at the city's leader's office, Spy Cyber stays with Lance. They band She reveals him that she needs to work with Diaz, that she's frightened of him because what he did to that man, that she's scared of him. Lance returns home though to see Supervisor pressing her things. He asks her for what reason she's so terrified. Diaz is a beast. He reveals that he's what she's doing, and he's worked with Damien Darcy guarded Laura. Edward Dark killed her, but Lance is like, so I'm gonna help you out this time. I'm gonna help you out. Lance insides the paper, however, though, and she gives Diaz the paper. And Tully's men bring Oliver still in chains to where Diaz is hanging out. They're watching the instruction center from the above, but Dable hangs out. Curtis occupies the security detail with his T-spears. So I'm just reading through stuff. Yeah. Eventually, Oliver gets to see Diaz, and Diaz punches him. He's like, "Come on, let's go." And they start fighting. Oliver basically kicks his ass pretty much, almost chokes him out. But Diaz cheats the fight, as you can say, and he stabs him. I'm like, I just can't buy that he can kick Oliver's ass. I'm sorry. With the lights of Malcolm Merlin, Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, Ra's al Ghul, Damien Dark, and Prometheus, when they first fought Oliver a few times, they nearly killed him. Ra's al Ghul stabbed him right here, and Malcolm Merlin, the Dark Archer, put some arrows in him. Deathstroke knocked him out, and Damien Dark killed him a few times with his magic, and Prometheus nearly, got close to killing Oliver a couple times in the first few fights. And Antilles like, "What are you doing? You're doing too much to him." He even takes care of all of his injuries as well. He says, "Sometimes life just isn't fair. I will tell you this: you have failed the city, and I'm going to take it back." But Renee comes to Curtis about coming back to the group. Blah blah blah. I didn't care about that. About that he's injured and that he's suffering. Whatever. Black Siren comes to see, of course, that but that request doesn't think so. A man with a weapon gets Oliver. Diaz discloses Oliver that he doesn't need Oliver to leave the city. However, he will rather utilize his associations with Ray Oliver's. He gets a group of covert cops to capture Oliver, and Oliver is dispelled. So again, another episode I didn't care about. Everything in Allegiances. Another forgettable episode, in my opinion. Alright, guys. Let's see. So 3 more episodes. Least favorite. 3 more least favorites. I didn't like this. Doc number 11/19/41/73 with dashes on it. Begins with a flashback in Cosnia with Diggle parachuting down, which I'll admit it is pretty cool to see him like shooting a gun and stuff. That was pretty cool. I thought. Oliver Phyllis show up at this prominently. I can't read that right. Sorry. Oliver requests Jean to help them get an extortion. Renee approaches Dina to assist him with getting ready for something. They're reminded they need to attempts to deal with it. Arrow was met by Channel 250 News, where he consoles that Oliver isn't the Green Arrow. Toward the finish of the meeting, Laura shows up and encourages that she'll still to the Green Arrow's character she summoned. New Team Arrow meets with Felicity, Raisin, and William. The arrangement begins. The court begins. If he's responsible for his criminal activities, so we go to the court. Coach Diggle is an observer, however, he doesn't show. He does show up a little later, though, and testifies. They interview Lisa Shorts, the specialist at Sterling General. She's clever. She had the option to see the Green Arrow's personality when Laura was treated. She's like, she didn't pay attention to that. She was too busy paying attention to take care of Laura Lance. She was stabbed and trying to take care of her. Laura and Quentin watch them on TV. Laura gets called by Diaz to testify. He wants her to say that Oliver's the Green Arrow. Quentin considers that Laura would have confronted Diaz, even though she's still scared. They're really impressed by he shows up. The arrangement cross-examines Diggle and Diana. Diana is injured, whether she killed Sean Science, however, she decides to remain silent for most of her fifth amendment, which she did, you know. So Laura shows up at Diaz's place, where he goes up against her about her announcement on the news. Well, eventually Laura does go on TV, or to Laurel, and lies and says she doesn't know that Oliver's the Green Arrow. She's like, no, he's not the Green Arrow, and then has that smile on TV at Diaz. Diaz is like, what the hell is she doing? And even, puts his hand, I don't like it when a man puts his hand on a woman, but he does. He's like, chokes her, where she did. And he betrayed me like that for not being sexual with him. So Felicity and Rachel talk about Oliver will get past the permanently. Renee jumps on the stand just to spot Diaz holding Zodi. So he gives everything away about Oliver being the Green Arrow. Of course he does, because he's a coward. He's not gonna, yeah, and apparently these people don't know who Ricardo Diaz is. And they said, this Ricardo Diaz person, he says, you don't tell me, he's got a criminal record, you know. He just gonna say my daughter's being threatened by a man right there, Ricardo Diaz. Just I guess you can say that in court, but I guess they say Ricardo Diaz doesn't exist. There's no Ricardo Diaz. Look it up. He's got a criminal record. You know. So Diggle and Danae confront Diaz on the town hilltops. Diggle tries to fight him, beat him up, but their cops show up with the weapons on them. Oliver asks Jean how they can eliminate Renee's declaration, legitimize it. Yeah. Well, eventually his lawyer says to him, "Are you the Green Arrow?" He's like, "Yes." That she doesn't need to offend him. She could insist on any case. Felicity gets called to the stand. She inquires whether one of the protectors of Oliver as the Green Arrow is a phony, and she confirms that it is. The arrangement blames Felicity for hurrying her and Oliver's wedding to support that she, as his wife, can't testify against him. That the calculator is her dad. Oliver gets called to the stand, where he discloses Roy's connection to the Green Arrow. Out of nowhere, the Green Arrow crashes in, and it's Tommy Merlin. Uh, it's actually a guy named Chance, who we saw in season 5. picked that bullet for Oliver, pretending like he got assassinated when he was mayor. Well, he does it for him by saying, "I didn't die those 5 years. I've been Green Arrow the whole time." He faked his own demise because it was their way of life as the Hood. The arrangement at the point gets some information about Renee's. He's like, he meets them in the van, thanking them. It's the, human target. Felicity meets with Oliver, where she clarifies that human target was the person who was under impersonating Tommy. Quentin comes in and covers that Laura is being applied. He thought Oliver and Felicity attempt to make sense of how to escape this. Laura stands up. She's got some information about Oliver as a Black Canary. That Oliver's the Green Arrow. She waves to reply. Renee and Dale will leave the room. Laura tells them that Tommy was the Green Arrow. Attempts to assist, they're trying to throw him in jail. And Oliver will go to jail for quite some time. Kirsten and Dana wonder if that will occur. William and Felicity visit Oliver. He advises William to get ready for being sent to prison. Felicity will pay special mind to him. Oliver is blameworthy on all charges. They appointed to be held. Everybody embraces and celebrates. Oliver gets clear of all the charges. They show up in the shelter. Oliver, Felicity, and Diggle do. Where's really human target once more? Renee watch a film. Renee's there watching a film, but just Jesus man, she started shoot. Diaz is gonna start coming and shooting in as well. Laura shows up in the scene using canary cries Diaz and his men down. She goes to kill Diaz, but yet he stops her. Proves that he's simply going to execute her, and Oliver knows that he puts her in his capture, knocks her out, and the episode ends there. Alright. We're close to being done, guys. It's 2 more episodes. And my next least favorite episode is The Ties That Bind. Begins with William getting ready for breakfast for Oliver and Felicity. They're just having family. As breakfast as a family. She covers she lists ideas that's still out there. John and Lyle are the specialist. The specialist uncovers that Dale's nerves in his arm have recuperated with no longer requirement for Felicity to take him filmed. Renee and his girl are being a hockey coordinator, but they get attacked by Diaz's men in this episode. So Dean and his men, they go after John and Lyle as well. Even go after Oliver. The Queens are pulling down to eat. He realizes him to get himself far away. Felicity and William running to away while Oliver deals with the shooters. Oliver cautions the entirely videos from Team Arrow about Diaz following them. Curtis and his sweetheart, they get killed, but his sweetheart Nick gets shot. John and Laura get attacked in the clinic. Renee and Laura get attacked in their home. Oliver reveals to William that he's setting down him and Felicity and Argus protection. Felicity reveals to Oliver that she's remaining behind to assist Oliver with confronting Diaz, which, I don't think she should have. At Helix, though, Oliver meets with Renee, Denaya, Felicity. Felicity shows them a video of Stream of Diaz's men crushing that first arrow shelter. And they break everything. They destroy the cave, the bunker. Diaz's men light the arrow dugout, and Diaz's orders men to burn the cave down, to blow it up, and they do. Curtis shows up to tell the reminder the sweetheart was shot. He'll make it, but he wants revenge on Diaz. Oliver discovers Anatoly to talk about Diaz as a base of activities. Sorry, like what's going on there. Anatoly and Diaz are riding along Reformed people when they halted by laborers and snared. Diaz's men begin battling with Team Arrow. Begins battling, well, they go after Diaz and they fight with his men. Curtis chases down Diaz, says, "You hurt somebody I love," and is trying to punch him. And even though I don't like Diaz as a fighter, he is able to manage to kick Mr. Terrific Man, Mr. Disaster's ass, because he gets his ass kicked. He's like, "Yeah, I did, huh? Wow, wow," and just he's really knocked out. I'm like, Curtis, you are a terrible superhero. You know, yeah. which I didn't care about that anyway. So Group Arrow escapes and makes it back to Helix. They uncover Curtis is resting in Argus. Lila makes references that the cops won't turn down a gathering with the top. Diaz and Anatoly show up at the police headquarters. The two get into an office. Diaz talks to them in a bad spot, blaming him for revealing to Team Arrow they were moving in, knowing that he betrayed him. And then you have this lady that's been joining his group as well, who's part of the Quadrant. She tells him that you're a horrible leader, you're doing all these things wrong, you're doing this, blah blah blah. So Diaz like gets it with his knife, stabs her in the throat, kills her. Oliver makes an effort to join the field with Lila. Wherever she's going. Felicity and Lila go into the police headquarters. They can move documents to the police PCs. Lila goes inside to converse with Diaz. I do like it when Felicity stupidly try to ask Lila for a marriage advice, and Lila says something funny, like, well, if it doesn't work, get a divorce then, or something like that. I thought that was funny what she said to her. Diaz and the cops uncompose Lila. However, Oliver and Diggle enter the police headquarters and begin battling with Diaz and his men. Paris shows up back at Helix to assist Felicity. Casimiro is attempting to guarantee her guiltiness for Diaz and Anatoly. Diaz wounds Casimiro through murdering her. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. That lady I just mentioned. Diggle and Oliver are making up for lost time. You know, eventually Diaz shows up to the Helix to fight Oliver. They begin battling with Diaz's men. The two are leaving the dugout when they leave by Diaz. After their last battle, Oliver gets a hazardous take on Diaz out. Group Arrow takes cover at Argus. Lila uncovers the Argus legal sciences group. Converting Diaz's body, he had the option to get away. Yeah, and there's a few times where, of course, Diaz could kill him, but Oliver gets away from him. Diaz and Antoni get comes to the men of the quarantine individuals, advise them regarding passing requests there. The minute Oliver goes to prosecute Sharp's office, Chris insists against Diaz. Returns for her assistance, he'll confess that he's the Green Arrow, he'll go to jail. And she agrees. So he goes to Watson, for Watson with that. Trying to prosecute him, arrested him in Thanksgiving episode. Alright. And then the last episode, that was Life Sentence, is also nobody's favorite. Mine, but this is the last episode of season 6. And so the CCPD Team Arrow assaults the precinct with Samantha Watson. They manage to overpower the corporate police force, capture many members of the Quadrant. They take them down. Pretty cool fight scene with the Green Arrow and stuff. Decent action. Diaz is nowhere to be found. The Diaz, knew they were coming. That's where Anatoly meets with Diaz, and Diaz says Lord Ever. Anatoly, having seen that Diaz is no longer has no moral morals, he decides to side with Oliver. He joins in the precinct. Due to this setback, Diaz blackmails Quentin to get rid of the FBI, or he will kill Laurel. Laurel's full of contempt and hatred towards Diaz. He cannot do anything since she's been captured. You tried to kill him earlier. Quentin is unwilling to help Laurel die, but Oliver dissuades him from trying anything stupid. And he's like, Oliver, how did you get away with that lie detector? Like, just calm down my breathing and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. But of course, he gets a second chance to save Laura, and then of course he takes it. Oliver tells him not to go do it, but of course Quentin goes does it anyway. He doesn't want to let her die. He is not beat Laura, but Quentin doesn't want to hear it, and his state master on him, which he does. Also, just that they can use Quentin instead of trap for Diaz. As Team Aaron, they prepare for the ambush. Oliver takes with Tuss Renee, Diana, and Curtis. Severally apologized to each of them for his unfair treatment of them, and I just don't like that when he apologized. He doesn't apologize. They need to apologize to him. Okay, maybe you say that under surveillance was too much, but I think he did it for a good reason. He didn't have a reason to trust them, but of course Oliver's wrong. Oliver had to sit there and apologize to them. I think they should apologize to him, especially Renee. But Renee was protecting his own daughter. Renee, you could have just gone to Oliver and John about this. Talk to them at first. Yeah. You know, at least Roy, at least Speedy, at least Earth One, Laura, Black Canary, they were all loyal to Oliver, and would betray him like that. You know, but I didn't care that he apologized. I just did not give a crap. You know, Angela accesses the front man with Quentin, but Diaz doesn't show up. Really doesn't play them. Quentin intends to go alone. Oliver is unable to stop him. Couldn't talk about some things. Quentin finally asks Oliver about the one thing that left him wrongdoing 106 years ago. How did he pass it? And Oliver answers, maintaining a steady heart rate. Quentin then tells Oliver that he's a good father. Oliver says he's a great role model. Quentin then thinks he means Robert, but Oliver actually meant Quentin himself. Quentin goes to Diaz's hideout and is imprisoned alongside Laura. He is tortured as well. Laura considers him a fool for coming. Quentin would do anything for his daughter. Meanwhile, the FBI attempts to get Diaz. Oliver tells everyone that Quentin left, shocking everyone. And if that bitch Watson is like, you can't done yet, we need to get to the I'm like, whatever, shut your face. There's a scene where they try to sneak into this building. There's like lasers all over it. Renee tries to call his daughter. I didn't care. Just didn't care about that, you know. But they run out of the exploding building since they have obviously no idea where Quentin was taken. But then Oliver recalls that Quentin explained that he was a peacemaker for his heart. A pacemaker for his heart. They track it down, which they do. Diaz tortures Quentin and tells him that if he doesn't use authority to get rid of the guy, he will kill Laura. Quentin refuses. Just when Diaz is about to shoot, they hide out. And by the way, he gets close to shooting Laura, but Quentin jumps in and gets shot himself. He takes a bullet for her. Diaz escapes and Oliver gives chase. So eventually they be able to track him down. They track him down. Diaz escapes and Oliver gets chased down. It comes down to Quentin and Laura. Laura looks at Diana that she's going to kill her, but to Laura's surprise, Diana frees her from her collar, saying, "Come on, we need to take him down." And they need to get Quentin to safety. They overnight Curtis. They take out Diaz's remaining thugs. Oliver catches Diaz on the roof. It's a shitty fight too. It's just a horrible fight. Because again, I'm not buying it. They just fight a bit. And Diaz is like, "This is my city," and they fight there a bit. Eventually, Black Star shows up. Laura shows up. Instead of just shooting him, she just I does her screeching yell. He ends up in the water, and yeah, could have just shot him, but okay. Laura uses her screen to blast him from the roof. Falls into the river. Oliver's at Lord, but Laura claims that she had to end it. Oliver thinks that the fall won't kill him. I think that would kill him, Oliver. A fall like that. It was a bit of a long fall. A hard fall. Laura says she can only hope. Watson is upset that Diaz wasn't taken, thinking that now there's no way to expose his corrupt ring. Oliver shows a device on his wrist. Copy the contents of the hard drive Diaz wrote in his neck. Felicity obtains the data, and it does indeed that. The next day, Star City General, the Quentin support, Oliver talks with him. They have a heartfelt discussion. Sarah Lynch also arrives, having been summoned by Laura. When Sarah meets her deceased sister's doppelganger, she's the first to admit she's not Laura. Laura tells Sarah Quentin is the surgeon that she called her, thinking that Quentin's daughter should be here now. Sarah asks Laura if she's like her, and is like disappointed expression answers, are they at all? But despite that, though, I like that little more. I like seeing Sarah Lance, you know, though she's on the show Legends tomorrow. It was nice for, and it was sad because Quentin eventually passes away from his gunshot wounds. You see him crying at the end. And I hate that. Well, from what I heard, the actor who plays Quentin Lance, that he, what's his name? Damn it. Oh, just from, okay, I'll picture right here. Yeah, that the actor didn't want to be in the show anymore. I guess after 6 seasons, well, he was in what, 2012, so for 7 years on the show. So I guess he just didn't want to be a part of it no more. But I will miss the character of Quentin Lance. He was one of the best things about this season, in my opinion. They start to mourn for him. There's a moment where Oliver talks to Renee, saying, "You were a good guy, I was hard on you," and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ugh, I didn't care about that. Watson has given Oliver that one last talk with Felicity and William. She black. flies out the camera and explains how they can get Oliver away from this. Oliver refuses to run, so Oliver gets arrested. Oliver is escorted by the precinct. He then reveals his identity as the Green Arrow to the whole world. Oh, Diaz isn't dead. Diaz is just watching on TV like he's in jail too, just watching on TV. So apparently that fall in the river didn't kill him. I'm like, okay, really? I wonder how the cops found him. Did he swim to the surface? I'm surprised if he was still alive in that water, could he not swim? Could he not just try to swim the heck away? Well, we do get pieces of him. No, we do get some of in season 7, the next season of Diaz as the villain a bit there as well. At the end, Oliver is escorted to the cell. Felicity's upset. The whole team's upset that he's going to prison for the murders. Nearly claim he's going to die there. And you see Oliver just being depressed and being locked in the cell. And then that's the end of season 6 of Arrow. So let me get my final thoughts on this. Yep, that's all. Okay, well that's it for season 6 of Arrow. Let me get my final thoughts. I hated the season pretty much. I hated the villain. I hate the characters mainly, and with the team, especially what they did with John Diggle. John Diggle has always been a good character. Like always a good friend to Oliver, almost like a brother. Trying to make him the Green Arrow just didn't work for me. But then it was good to see Roy Harper back. Deathstroke was back in the season. Those episodes I felt were good. You know, so in seeing Adrian Chase come back, Prometheus come back, I thought that was a really good episode. There's some episodes, like I said, that I did enjoy. I just didn't enjoy too much of it. A lot of the episodes were either okay, or other episodes sucked. So literally, I mean, it was cool to see the suit. The suit was still cool. I like seeing Oliver trying to be a father to William. Yeah, William can be annoying and not listen sometimes. His voice sounds like he's 5 years old, even though he was like 14-year-old kid. But regardless, I did not care for Arrow season 6 very much. I hate that they killed off. Oh yeah, I hate that they killed off Quentin, Diana, Renee. I still don't like Renee in his Jason X suit. It even looks worse than the last one. Yeah, I don't like Mr. Terrific. He still looks silly with the makeup on. But it was cool to see these three again. Talking about, yeah, it was cool to see Deathstroke again. And then, of course, Speedy back in her suit. That was cool. And see Roy Harper back. So there were some good episodes in here. I didn't like the Agent Watson character. But we've seen, oh, he's been out of the Green Arrow for the third time. I'm like, can we just do enough of that? And Diaz is just a thug who, I'm sorry, Malcolm Merlin was a great villain, and so was Deathstroke. So was Ra's al Ghul, in my opinion. They were great, and Damien Dark, Prometheus, they were bigger threats that almost killed Oliver. Oh, well, you could say, well, he nearly almost killed Oliver in that fight. No, he didn't. He gets his ass kicked. And I don't care about his backstory. Lame villain, lame story. Caden James was a forgettable villain. You could do so much with that character, but no, you kill him off. We can't have it be a smart tech guy. Why can't it be Dolph Lundgren? Why couldn't have Dolph Lundgren from season 5 come back and maybe he beat the villain? Yeah, you can probably say that's right off Deathstroke from season 2 a little bit, but I'd rather have Dolph Lundgren as the main villain. Dolph Lundgren kicked a bit of Oliver's ass too in season 5, tortured Oliver in season 5. Dolph Lundgren's character Kova. Why couldn't we just have Kova be the main villain? Hmm? Give me a villain that has a more intimidating presence. But this season was lame. A lot of the story sucked. This season I would say fucking fully sucked. I hated season 5, 6 of Arrow. It's even worse than season 5. They're both just bad, but it comes off as worse. When my rating for Arrow season 6, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. My rating for this season is 1 out of 5 stars. Yeah, 1 out of 5 stars, a thumbs down for Arrow season 6. My rating for the season once again is 1 out of 5 stars. So guys, tell me in the comments down below. What do you think of Arrow season 6 in your opinion? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me that season 5 was the beginning of the downfall of the series? In my opinion, it was. Season 5 was the hit rock bottom, and with this season, it hits even more rock bottom. Does not get any better from here. The episodes get boring, uninteresting, even making John Diggle unlikable. I'm like, wow, there's bad writing, and some of the action is even getting lame. The action can be horribly edited. Some of it can be good sometimes, but sometimes the action is horribly edited. But Arrow season 6, lame. Disappointed with this season. Alright, stay tuned, guys. I'll probably rant on this season too. Next will be my thoughts slash favorite episodes of Arrow. Season 7 will be next. Yeah. So season 7 of Arrow will be next. Yeah. So season 7 will be next. So stay tuned for that. Tell me in the comments down below what do you think of Arrow season 6. Again, my rating for this season is 1 out of 5 stars. Thumbs down. Tell me in the comments down below what do you think of season 6 in your opinion. And stay tuned for my thoughts slash favorite episodes of Arrow season 7. And then we'll get to season 8. And that'll be the final season. Just 2 more seasons. Just this one, season 7 and then 8. And then we're done with Arrow. And then we'll move on to DC Legends of Tomorrow. I'll do a TV show collection video for that. But Arrow season 7, this will be next. So stay tuned for Arrow season 7. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your opinion on Arrow as a show. What are some of your favorite seasons or episodes of the show? Or your favorite Arrow villain in the show? And what is your least favorite season? And yeah, tell me in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you later. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.